You mind saying that again? The gate agent's voice slices through the terminal noise. Loud, mocking, deliberate. The black woman blinks, startled. I said my seat was changed without... Oh no, no. The agent interrupts, twisting his mouth into an exaggerated imitation. My seat was changed without. A laugh bursts from a man behind the counter. Another chuckle joins. Then silence. A paper ticket slips from her hand, floating to the floor. No one bends to help. Her throat tightens. Excuse me. She manages, voice low but firm. He leans closer, smirk widening. I'm excusing you, ma'am. Maybe next time try proper English. Helps with communication. Someone in line snorts. The sound echoes like a slap. She steadies herself, breathing through the burn in her chest. You don't get to talk to me like that. Oh, relax, he says, waving a hand. It's just a joke. Don't be so sensitive. His tone sharpens as he turns to the next passenger. Next, please! She doesn't move. The air thickens, every sound, wheels rolling, children laughing, flight announcements, fades beneath the pulse in her ears. The agent looks back, irritated. Ma'am, you're holding up the line. A teenage girl whispers to her mother. Why is she still standing there? The mother mutters, probably causing drama. Her heart pounds, but her voice stays calm. You humiliated me in front of everyone. You think that's funny? He scoffs. You're really gonna make this a race thing. The word race lands like a warning. People shift uneasily. She feels the heat of dozens of eyes. The shame isn't hers, but it crawls across her skin anyway. She bends to pick up her ticket. Her hand trembles. Ma'am, he says again, tone clipped now. If you can't cooperate, I'll have security escort you. That's when it happens. The smallest thing, her silence. It's not compliance. It's a calm that unnerves him. She stares at him without blinking, voice barely a whisper. Record this. A man 2 rows back hesitates, then raises his phone. Another follows. The agent's grin falters. You're not allowed to... She cuts him off, still steady. Continue. Say what you said before. The quiet stretches, taut as wire. He laughs nervously, eyes darting to the phones. I don't remember what you mean. Her tone sharpens, eyes glinting. Oh, I think you do. The laughter in the room dies completely. Only the intercom hums above them, announcing flights that suddenly feel very far away. He shifts his weight, voice defensive now. You misunderstood. It was just... She interrupts once more, not loud, but precise. You mocked my voice because it made you feel bigger. It won't work this time. The last word lands heavy. For the first time, he looks small. But before she can turn away, a passenger murmurs, You shouldn't provoke him. He could have you banned. The sentence hangs, a reminder of how power bends. Her jaw tightens, but she says nothing, because deep down, something sharper is forming. Not anger, but certainty. And though no one knows it yet, this is the moment everything begins to shift. The line moves around her like a stream split by a stone. She stands still, clutching her ticket. The only sound left in her world is the tap of the agent's keyboard and the occasional cough from the waiting crowd. No one looks directly at her now, but every face tilts just enough to see. A woman in a floral scarf whispers, She's still here? A man replies under his breath, Probably wants attention. Their voices cut deeper than the agent's insult ever did. The agent clears his throat, pretending to work. His smile now is tight and performative. Ma'am, he says loudly, I've already explained the policy. If you don't understand, that's not my fault. The word understanding drips with something deliberate. She looks up slowly. I understood perfectly. He exhales through his nose. Forced patience. Then I suggest you step aside before security gets involved. Her voice shakes but doesn't falter. You really think you can talk to me like that and walk away? He gives a short laugh. I just did. The passengers shuffle, uncomfortable. Phones lower, shame mixed with curiosity. An elderly woman 2 seats away gives her a small, apologetic smile, then quickly looks away when the agent's eyes flick in her direction. It's not just one man against her anymore. It's the silence of everyone who doesn't want to choose. She feels it, that cold loneliness that follows humiliation, not from strangers' cruelty, but from their unwillingness to see. The PA system crackles overhead. Final boarding for Flight 327 to Atlanta. Her ticket reads that number. She steps closer to the counter, forcing her voice into calm. I'm supposed to be on that plane. The agent snatches the ticket from her hand, types something quick, then pushes it back with a smirk. Not anymore. You missed the boarding window while arguing. The sentence knocks the air from her lungs. You closed the gate early. He shrugs, feigning innocence. Rules are rules. Someone in line whispers, "Guess she learned her lesson." Another chuckle follows, muffled, guilty. Her pulse hammers in her throat. You're punishing me because I spoke up. Because you caused a disturbance. He corrects smoothly. And that's the game. Reframe, twist, make the victim the problem. She glances around, searching the faces around her for one sign of courage. None meet her eyes. The silence feels heavier than the insult. The elderly woman stands again, hesitates, then steps forward. "Excuse me, sir," she says softly. "That's not right. You mocked her. We all heard." The agent's tone drops. "Ma'am, please take your seat." The woman falters and sits back down. That's when the black woman realizes nobody here will save her. But maybe they don't need to. She exhales, slow and deliberate, and pulls her phone from her bag. Her thumb hovers over the screen, record button waiting. Her reflection looks back, calm but fierce, and under her breath, barely audible. "Let's make this count." The gate agent's smirk returns, but for the first time it trembles, because even he can feel it. Something has shifted again, quietly, but undeniably. "Supervisor," she says, clear and measured now. The gate agent's eyebrows lift. "Oh, we're still doing this?" He glances at the passengers, half bored, half entertained. "You really don't quit, do you?" Her phone is still recording, the red light blinking steadily. "I'm not leaving until someone higher than you looks at this," she replies. He leans on the counter, lowering his voice to a hiss meant to humiliate. "You're embarrassing yourself." "Maybe," she says quietly, "but at least I'll have proof of who helped me do it." The murmur in the terminal grows. People turn. Phones raised again. The air hums. That peculiar electricity before confrontation explodes. The agent presses a button on the intercom, "Supervisor to gate 19. His tone is syrupy sweet, but his jaw tightens. Passengers whisper, "She's got guts." "Yeah, but this'll go bad fast." Imagine losing your flight over an argument. She hears every word, but doesn't flinch. The supervisor arrives, tall, polished, corporate smile ready. "What's going on here?" The agent straightens, instantly defensive. This passenger caused a disruption and refused to cooperate. She missed her boarding window. "She?" The woman interrupts. "I'm standing right here. You can talk to me." The supervisor sighs, already exasperated. "Ma'am, let's step aside." "No," she says, voice cutting through the noise. "You'll hear it right here, in front of everyone." Her calmness disarms him. He glances at the recording phones. "Fine. Tell me what happened." She breathes once, slow, then lets it out. "He mocked my accent. He laughed at me. And when I refused to be quiet, he closed the gate to punish me." The supervisor turns to the agent, who laughs nervously. "That's ridiculous. I was joking. She took it wrong." "Joking," she repeats softly. "Would you like to hear it on video?" A ripple of surprise moves through the passengers. Someone mutters, "She got it all." The supervisor's tone shifts, eyes narrowing. "You recorded this?" "Yes. And I'll be sending it to corporate." The agent's smirk is gone. "You can't just—" She cuts in sharply. "I can, because I work there." A stunned silence hits the terminal. The supervisor blinks. "Excuse me." Her eyes don't leave the agent's face. "I'm a regional operations manager. Your employee just mocked a passenger and his own superior." A collective gasp. The man who laughed earlier lowers his head. Even the intercom seems to fall silent. The agent stumbles over his words. I didn't know." "That's the problem," she says. "You never think about who you're speaking to, only who you think is beneath you." Her tone stays controlled, but the tremor of emotion beneath it is pure fire. The supervisor starts apologizing, voice dripping with panic. "We'll handle this immediately. Please, step into the lounge. We can resolve this privately." "No," she says, holding the gaze of every silent witness. "You'll resolve it here. The humiliation happened here. The truth will stay here too." The words hang, heavy, righteous, and immovable. And in that moment, the entire terminal feels smaller than her voice. The supervisor's smile tightens, the kind that hides panic behind protocol. "Let's take a breath," he says gently, voice trembling with corporate caution. The crowd has already stopped pretending not to watch. The black woman folds her arms, her phone still recording on the counter. Her silence feels like judgment itself. The gate agent fidgets, face red. He mumbles, "It was just a misunderstanding." But his words stumble over the weight of what he's already said. She tilts her head. "A misunderstanding is when you forget a name. What you did was deliberate." The crowd murmurs. A few quiet yeahs ripple from the back. A man in a business suit mutters, "She's right." The agent's lips press thin. His confidence has drained, leaving only defensiveness. He looks at the supervisor like a child waiting to be rescued. "Ma'am," the supervisor begins, "we sincerely apologize on behalf of the airline. This behavior doesn't reflect our values." He gestures toward the counter as if the statement alone could erase the sting. She studies him, then says softly, "Apologies come easy when people are watching." His smile falters. "We're committed to making it right." "How?" she asks. "Because my flight's gone. My dignity was gone before that." Her voice doesn't rise, but every word lands sharp. Even the announcement speaker seems to hesitate before speaking again. The agent finally snaps. "You're exaggerating. I said one thing, and now you're trying to ruin me." The supervisor hisses, "Tom, enough." But it's too late. The words are out. Desperate, raw. She turns toward him, eyes steady. "Ruin you? No. Just show you." Her calmness unnerves him more than anger ever could. For a moment, the energy in the room flips, not by power, but by presence. The one who was mocked now stands unshakable, and the one who mocked her fumbles for ground. The supervisor clears his throat again. "Let's move to a private area, please." She exhales slowly. The room feels heavy with expectation. Her instinct says to walk away, but something in her refuses. "I've been pulled aside my entire life," she says quietly, "every time someone felt uncomfortable facing what they did." Her gaze cuts through him. "No more side rooms." The supervisor looks defeated. The passengers remain silent, not out of fear now, but respect. Then something subtle shifts. The murmuring passengers who once whispered against her now stand behind her in quiet solidarity. A woman whispers, "Good for her." Another nods. Finally, someone's saying it. The tension doesn't break. It just changes shape. The crowd isn't laughing anymore. They're listening. And for the first time since the confrontation began, she feels the stillness inside her settle. Not victory, not relief, just a fragile, uneasy calm. The kind that comes right before truth breaks the air open again. The supervisor straightens his tie, trying to reclaim authority that's already slipping through his fingers. "Ma'am," he says carefully, "I assure you this matter will be documented and reviewed internally." She nods once, eyes fixed on the agent. "And how long before it's quietly forgotten?" He hesitates. "That's not how we operate." A soft, humorless laugh escapes her. "I know exactly how you operate." The agent frowns. "Oh, you know? What, you've been through this before?" Her response is quiet, deliberate, the sound of a truth finally uncloaked. "No, I oversee it." He blinks. "What?" She reaches into her bag, pulls out a small badge holder, and slides it across the counter. It lands between them with a soft thud. "Regional Operations Manager, Airway International." The silence that follows is thunderous. The supervisor's face drains of color. You're... "Yes," she says simply. "I'm your manager's manager, and I just watched how you treat passengers when you think no one's looking." Gasps ripple through the nearby crowd. Someone whispers, "Oh my God." Another mutters, "She works for them." The agent's mouth opens, but no words come. His earlier arrogance dissolves into disbelief. You can't, I didn't know." "That's the problem," she interrupts softly. "You never needed to know who I was to treat me with respect." The supervisor stammers, "Ma'am, this is a misunderstanding." She shakes her head. "No, it's exposure." The crowd shifts closer, their curiosity sharpening. The man who'd once snickered now looks down, ashamed. The elderly woman who'd spoken earlier straightens her shoulders, almost proud. The agent whispers, almost to himself, "You're really my boss." Her expression doesn't change. For now. He swallows hard, color draining from his face. "Please, I didn't mean..." She leans forward, voice soft but razor sharp. every person you've spoken to today. Every accent you've mocked, every rule you've twisted, I'll make sure they never happen again under your name." His lips tremble. "I was just doing my job." "No," she says. "You were doing your habit." The supervisor finally finds his voice. "Ms. Johnson, we deeply regret this incident. Let me escort you to the executive lounge while we sort this out." She nods slowly, then looks at the passengers, eyes meeting the same people who watched her humiliation minutes ago. "Leave the cameras on," she says gently. "They deserve to see what accountability looks like." No one argues. The phones stay raised, but this time the tone has changed. No laughter, no mockery, just awe. The gate agent looks around helplessly, trapped in a silence he once used as his weapon, and in that charged, breathless moment, the crowd sees it. The instant the balance of power quietly, irrevocably shifts, the crowd begins to scatter, whispers fading into the hum of the terminal. Phones lower, footsteps echo, but her world stays still. The badge feels heavy in her hand, heavier than pride, heavier than vindication. The adrenaline that carried her through the storm begins to ebb, leaving a hollow ache behind. She moves toward an empty row of seats by the window, the terminal lights casting her reflection across the glass. Outside, planes taxi quietly, metal giants that keep moving no matter who gets left behind. She sits, palms pressed together, breathing shallow. Her phone screen glows in her lap. Notifications piling up, messages from colleagues already spreading the video she never meant to go viral. For a moment, she wishes none of them had seen. Behind her, voices still linger. The faint sound of the supervisor chastising the agent, his words now small, insignificant. She doesn't listen. She's somewhere else. In every airport, every office, every boardroom where she's ever swallowed humiliation to keep her position intact, she closes her eyes. And suddenly, she's remembering the first time it happened, years ago on her first day in training, when a senior attendant told her she spoke like a tourist. She'd smiled then, pretending not to notice. It was easier to survive that way. But now, sitting under the cold hum of fluorescent light, the weight of every silence she's ever chosen begins to crush her. She wipes a tear quickly, glancing around to make sure no one sees. Instinct, not weakness. Her phone buzzes again. A call from headquarters. She lets it ring out. Then another call follows, and another. Her reflection looks back at her through the glass, strong, composed, but behind the eyes there's exhaustion, not just from today, from years of pretending her skin wasn't the first thing people noticed. She whispers to herself, almost a confession, "Even when you win, it still hurts." A child's laughter bursts somewhere behind her, innocent, unaware. She watches the reflection of the boy chasing his mother's suitcase, free, unmarked by the weight she carries. A memory surfaces, her own mother's voice, steady and soft. "Dignity isn't silence, baby. It's how you rise when the noise tries to drown you." She breathes deep, repeating it like a prayer. The ache doesn't fade, but it steadies her. Her shoulders straighten, fingers curl into resolve. She scrolls through her phone, hovering over the video she recorded. The thumbnail freezes on the agent's mocking grin. She almost deletes it, then stops. Some stories aren't meant to vanish quietly. Her reflection in the glass hardens, tears drying fast. She tucks the phone away and stands. There's still pain, but beneath it, something unyielding has begun to take root. Something that feels like purpose. And as she turns away from the window, the sound of her heels on tile feels less like retreat and more like preparation. Her phone rings again. This time, she answers. "Ms. Johnson." The voice on the other end is calm but urgent. "This is compliance from headquarters. We just received multiple passenger reports about a racial incident at Gate 19. Are you still on site?" She glances toward the counter where the supervisor still whispers harshly to the gate agent. "Yes, I'm here." "We've confirmed it's one of your regions." The voice continues. "Can you assess the situation firsthand? We're initiating an internal review." The irony cuts sharp. She almost laughs. "Already ahead of you." "Understood. Proceed as you see fit," the caller says. "Document everything. We'll stand by for your report." The call ends. The timing feels almost poetic. She rises, adjusts her blazer, and walks back toward the gate. Every step reclaims the ground she lost. The passengers notice first, phones rise again. not out of spectacle, but expectation. The supervisor stiffens. "Miss Johnson, I was just about to—" She raises a hand. "You can stop." Her voice is calm, but the tone leaves no room for argument. She looks to the gate agent, whose bravado has evaporated completely. He stands behind the counter, pale, lips trembling. "I've been authorized to oversee this incident directly," she says, "effective immediately." The words ripple like thunder through the quiet terminal. The agent stammers, I didn't mean... It was just..." She interrupts softly. "You meant every word until you realized who I was." The supervisor starts to speak, but she continues, addressing them both. "Here's what's going to happen. You'll both provide statements before you clock out. HR and compliance will reach out within the hour. I'll submit a report tonight." The supervisor swallows hard. "Of course." Her tone sharpens. "And the footage from passengers, from airport security, will be attached to the file. No edits, no explanations." The agent's face crumples. "Please, Ms. Johnson, I've worked here for 10 years. She studies him, not cruelly, but with quiet finality. "How many people did you mock in those 10 years? He looks down. Silence answers for him. Her phone buzzes. Another message from headquarters. "Confirmed escalation logged. Proceed with authority." She glances at it once, then looks back to the passengers. "You've all been patient," she says. "This gate is now under operational review. Please wait for reassignment details." A woman in line nods softly. "Thank you." Another man murmurs, "About time someone handled this." For the first time, the energy in the terminal shifts. Not chaos, not tension, but respect. The gate agent's shoulders slump. He knows what's coming, and so does she. But she doesn't gloat, because power isn't meant to humiliate. It's meant to reveal. Her voice lowers, steady, measured, unflinching. Sometimes silence protects cruelty. Today, silence will protect no one. And as the last word leaves her lips, even the intercom seems to hold its breath. The atmosphere at Gate 19 has changed completely. The same space that once echoed with laughter now hums with unease. Passengers whisper, but this time their words lean toward her, not away. The supervisor hovers near the counter, posture stiff, his earlier arrogance replaced with anxious compliance. He keeps glancing at the agent, who looks as though the floor might swallow him whole. She stands tall beside them, phone still recording, voice calm but cutting through the air like glass. "I've submitted the initial incident file," she says into her headset. "Gate 19 operations will remain suspended until review approval." Her words carry the weight of authority, the kind no one dares to question. The supervisor clears his throat. "Ms. Johnson, canceling a gate affects the entire flight network. Perhaps we can—" "Perhaps," she interrupts. "You should focus on why this happened instead of how to cover it up." He lowers his gaze. Behind them, a few passengers begin to clap quietly, hesitant at first, then growing bolder. The sound isn't for drama, it's for relief. It's the applause of people who've seen power, for once, choose the right side. The gate agent's eyes flick up, glistening with panic. "Please, I've got a family, this job." She doesn't answer right away. Her silence stretches, heavy but not cruel. "I'm sure the passengers you mocked have families too." She finally says, "You didn't think of them when you humiliated them, did you?" He shakes his head, trembling. "I didn't mean—" She cuts him off gently. Intent doesn't erase impact. The crowd murmurs in agreement. The air feels cleaner somehow, like truth has oxygen again. Her radio crackles. "Compliance confirmed," a voice says. "Gate 19 operations are now under temporary suspension pending investigation." She replies evenly, "Acknowledged." Then she looks up at the rows of waiting passengers. "I know this delays your travel," she says, tone softening. "But this isn't just about a flight. It's about how people are treated before they board one." A woman near the front nods. "You're doing the right thing." Someone else adds, "Finally, accountability." The gate agent turns away, hands covering his face. The supervisor mutters something about reassignments, but she doesn't hear him. Her focus is on the quiet transformation unfolding before her, the reversal of shame. For the first time today, her chest feels light, not because she won, but because the truth stood its ground. A little boy tugs at his mother's sleeve. "Mom," he whispers, "is she the boss now?" The mother smiles faintly. "She always was." The sound makes her heart ache, not from pain, but from recognition. She looks back at the crowd, her voice low but resolute. "This isn't punishment," she says. "It's a reflection. Every system, every person has to stop and look in the mirror once in a while." And as she walks toward the terminal exit, the gate behind her no longer feels like a place of humiliation, but a monument to truth spoken aloud. The terminal is buzzing, but not with laughter anymore. Phones still record, passengers whisper, and the weight of accountability presses down on everyone at Gate 19. The gate agent stands frozen, papers in hand. His earlier bravado vanished entirely. He glances at the supervisor, whose face is pale, mouth moving silently, as if trying to conjure excuses. She steps forward, calm and deliberate. Effective immediately, she announces, voice steady, "The agent is suspended pending a full review. Any future gate assignments will be contingent on mandatory training and assessment of conduct." A hush sweeps through the crowd. Passengers glance at one another, processing the shift. Some nod quietly. Some mouth, "Finally." The supervisor attempts a weak protest. "Ms. Johnson, is this necessary? He's worked here for years." "Years of what?" she interrupts, sharp as steel. "Years of mocking, belittling, and assuming your power makes you untouchable. Years of allowing passengers to feel unsafe." Her words cut through the hum of the terminal, clear and unflinching. The agent lowers his head, swallowing. His defenses crumble entirely. I didn't know. You did," she says softly. "And that's why it ends today." A murmur of relief spreads through the waiting passengers. Some even clap quietly. The weight of injustice, however brief, has lifted. Her phone buzzes again. Messages from corporate confirming the escalation, instructing the gate to remain closed until HR finalizes the report. She tucks it away without looking. The victory isn't personal, it's moral. The supervisor shifts uneasily. "Ms. Johnson will ensure this doesn't happen again." "Yes," she replies, gaze piercing. "But don't rely on intention, rely on observation. Respect isn't earned by rules alone. It's earned by action." The gate agent whispers something too low to hear, probably a plea, probably a promise. She doesn't answer. The moment doesn't belong to an apology. It belongs to recognition, the recognition of what real accountability looks like. Passengers start moving forward as announcements echo. The flight is canceled for operational review, but for the first time, no one complains. They understand. The inconvenience is nothing compared to the lesson unfolding before them. A mother whispers to her child, "That's how you handle injustice." The boy watches silently, eyes wide, storing it in memory. She exhales slowly. The adrenaline that fueled confrontation and authority finally ebbs. Her reflection in the polished floor shows strength tempered with calm, not anger, not gloating, only the quiet certainty of justice delivered. The terminal feels different now, lighter somehow. Even the air seems cleaner, as if the weight of mockery and cruelty had been lifted along with the agent's arrogance. And as she steps back toward the concourse, leaving the scene of confrontation behind, the hum of the airport resumes. But nothing here will ever feel quite the same, because when the powerless speak truth and the powerful face consequences, a shift occurs that no one can undo. The terminal has returned to routine, yet a subtle change lingers in the air. Passengers speak softly, eyes occasionally following her path, the weight of today's lessons etched on their faces. She walks with quiet composure, phone tucked away, badge glinting softly under the fluorescent lights. Not a triumphal strut, but the calm confidence of someone who has reclaimed control without cruelty. The gate agent remains behind the counter, shoulders slumped, humiliated in a way no apology could ever repair. The supervisor hovers nearby, every movement careful, aware of the scrutiny that now surrounds them. She pauses briefly near a cluster of passengers. "Remember this," she says softly, tone carrying more than authority. It carries truth. How you treat people, especially when no one is watching, defines you far more than any rule ever could. Heads nod silently, phones lower, whispers fade into reflection. A mother guides her child past her. The boy glances up, wide-eyed, absorbing more than just an airport lesson. Was she really in charge? He whispers. "Yes," the mother says quietly, "and she reminded us all how to stand tall." She exhales slowly, allowing herself a moment of release. Not joy, not relief, just clarity. The terminal hums with life again. Planes taking off, announcements echoing, travelers moving through their routines. But within that rhythm, a subtle imprint remains. Dignity endured, authority exercised wisely, and justice quietly enforced. Her phone buzzes again, corporate confirming documentation and procedural follow-up. She smiles faintly, letting it rest. The work is not done, but the moment has been claimed. The humiliation of minutes ago has transformed into a lesson that will ripple far beyond Gate 19. As she walks toward her own departure gate, her reflection in the polished floor mirrors a single truth. Power can humiliate. Power can intimidate. But the strength to observe, record, and act, that is unstoppable. Her voice, almost to herself, carries into the quiet terminal. Some victories are loud, others are silent, but they echo longer than anger ever could. A camera from a passenger still records discreetly, not for gossip, but to preserve integrity. The scene freezes in the minds of witnesses. A black woman humiliated, then reclaiming control with precision, authority, and calm. She doesn't look back. There's nothing to prove, nothing to settle. The lesson is already written in the reactions of those who watched, in the weight lifted from the room, and in the silent understanding of accountability. And as the hum of the airport carries her forward, the voiceover settles softly. If her silence spoke louder than hate, imagine the power of action. Every story like this matters. Every injustice deserves recognition. Subscribe, because truth, courage, and dignity are stories that must be heard.